off the starter.
Yeah, Tegan Kavan is just a sophomore, but she's truly one of the best pitchers in the country. She is just so talented with the...
Not just among freshmen, but amongst any player in this conference and in the country. Those 16 home runs, second in the SEC. Early in that game, 7-3, and then LSU bouncing back, scoring 2 runs in the first inning in game 2 to take game 2 6-1. And the 5th-year senior Danica Coffey leads things off for the Tigers here to start the game. 2 for 7 in the series, riding a 4-game hit streak, and has been a steady presence at the top of this LSU batting order.
Yeah, it's good to see her back in the lineup this year for LSU after suffering an injury last season, cut her season short, and she was really off to a really good start. I mean, she's just been so consistent with her speed and her tools up at the plate. Nevertheless, what she can do defensively at third base. Had a big loss for them last season whenever she went down, and so happy to see those numbers recover, because you just never really know how somebody is going to recover after a season-ending injury.
2-2 from Kavan. Well, particularly, she led the team last year in batting average, hitting right around 400 through the first 16 games. Then she suffered that season-ending injury. Has somehow bounced back and had the best season of her career at the plate.
Well, she just has such a good eye. We are, what, 3/4 of the way through the season so far, and she's already walked 43 times. So that helps her high on base percentage. It's well over 500. She just continues to find different ways to get on base and continues to develop as a hitter as her years go on.
Coffey, 3-2 right into the mid of Mia Scott at third base, and 1 down in the first.
LSU is going to love that at bat. Texas is going to love that defense. They're going to have to play sharp defense against this LSU offense who loves to get on base. They have speed, not necessarily a lot of stolen bases, but they just have good team speed. That's a big deal to grab that line drive and keep Danica Coffey off the bases.
Ball 1 to the Ole Miss transfer, Jayla Lassiter. Mentioned the fact that this team is so good at getting on base. They lead the SEC, getting on base over 45% of the time. Lassiter to short, backhanded by Good, and a long throw does not get to Mitchell. And a 1-out infield single for Lassiter.
Yeah, LSU's offense is really good at scoring early in the first inning. Look at how many runs that they're scoring in that first inning. 67 runs that they've scored this season compared to just giving up 16, and then they continue going the second and the third innings. When I've watched them play this year, just like every time I tune into a game and I'm a little bit late, it just seemed like they're already ahead, because they love to score early.
Well, Tori Edwards, as we mentioned at the top, one of the best power hitting freshmen in the country. Has a runner aboard with 1 down in the first. And you're right, Amanda, it's tracked in this series. LSU has jumped out to a lead in both games 1 and game 2. And a big opportunity here with a runner aboard and 1 down in the first.
And this is the type of matchup that you live for as a softball fan, seeing youth at the plate and in the circle. Kavan, just a sophomore. Edward, just a redshirt freshman. We're going to get to watch these very talented athletes for years to come.
LSU 8 for 37 with runners aboard in this series. Not the best of averages, certainly, but they consistently apply pressure. And another full count now from Tegan Kavan.
Head coach Beth Torina calls Tori Edwards the most prepared hitter that we have in the lineup. high softball IQ and the strength to go along with it.
And draws a one-out walk.
In the cleanup position, the catcher, number 12, Matt Bergeron.
Macy Bergeron riding a 4-game hit streak, multiple hits in 3 of those, and has done a ton of damage in the middle of this lineup, batting over 400 with 9 home runs. 46 runs batted in. So much more confidence at the plate this year. Her average up nearly 100 points from a season ago.
Just hitting for more power, has great protection with how Beth Torina structured today's lineup with hitting behind Tori Edwards. Tori Edwards draws that walk and just has a lot of confidence with who is on deck behind her. She doesn't feel like she has to press to get out of her strike zone to have the big hit when Bergeron is hitting behind her.
Strike 2. Well, now they're going to say it's strike 3. Home plate umpire Robbie Guest stepped in front of home plate after there was some confusion about the count, and that is a strikeout and the second out of the inning.
Yeah, Bergeron didn't know that she had 2 strikes. I think it's why she let this pitch go. Or maybe she just froze her, and Robbie Guest was a little bit late on his call, but a huge strikeout by Kavan with a runner in scoring position. And that's that drop ball in the outer half. When you're so used to seeing her spin pitches up in the zone, then now this year she can bring that drop ball down and give a different vertical look.
Redoutey right off the mitt of Mitchell. It's a fair ball, and they do get the runner on the flip. So Mitchell bats it down, stays with it, and LSU.
Texas will bring up to the plate is going to be in the favor of Jaden Heavner. Lefty's only hitting 124 off of her. So while she can get herself into some trouble with walks, and Beth Torina, the pitching coach and head coach of LSU, said even, that's just kind of been her thing. Even when we were recruiting her, she has a tendency to lose command at times, but she can help herself out with quickly piling up strikeouts to be able to work out of it.
Ahead here 0-2.
And you look at the overall batting average against her opponent's just hitting 162, and lefties goes down to 124, that lefty on lefty matchup.
Just misses on Maloney. Well, Heavner ended her her high school career rather, with every accolade you could imagine. Was the Florida Gatorade Player of the Year in 2024, the Max Preps National Player of the Year. Highly recruited and highly successful, and gets a first out on a beautiful stretch at first by Tori Edwards. 1 down.
It's a great job of Jaden Heavner to come right back after that close pitch, the pitch before, and still attack the strike zone with this pitch. Rely on her defense. Avery Hodge can cover a lot of ground at shortstop. The transfer from Oklahoma won a couple of national championships there. Beth Torina loves seeing her in the portal, and her decision to come to LSU knowing she could fit right into that shortstop spot.
Caden Henry having an excellent season, but just 1 for 7 in the series. And Texas in this series batting 192 coming into game 3. Well below their SEC leading season average of 363. Talked with Mike White. He said, we just have to be better at executing the little things at the plate. As Henry goes down on strikes, 2 away in the first for Heavner.
Yeah, if you're Beth Doreen and the LSU coaching staff, you're loving seeing Jaden Heavner come right out in this first inning and get 2 quick outs, including a strikeout. Rise ball, late break. That rise ball has serious spin and movement to it again. That is her best chase pitch. Got Henry chasing that one.
Mia Scott with 2 outs and the base is clear. Riding that 7-game hit streak for the Longhorns. What a huge first inning this would be for Jaden Heavner. Has struggled with control, not just last weekend against A&M, but coming into this game, the last 34 2/3 innings pitched, 34 walks, 10 hit batters. The 1-1. Well, earlier in this series, Mia Scott producing not 1, not 2, but 1 of 3 home runs for the Texas Longhorns in Game 1.
Not the City Burzon, the All-American pitcher for LSU.
And goes down swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts for Heavner, who sets down the side, or the Olympics, or both.
Yeah, just not too far away from here at by 35, a little north. I have a really mean one-handed cartwheel and round-off. And probably my best gymnastics would have been mental gymnastics as a softball player and a pitcher, but that's where I end with that.
I've never seen this, so I cannot confirm whether you can actually
I'll show you after the game.
What'd you say, one-handed
cartwheel?
One-handed cartwheel. Tegan Kavan back in the circle for Texas, taking on Avery Hodge. 6, 7, and 8 due up in the LSU lineup here. Tigers had multiple runners aboard with less than 2 outs in the first inning, unable to capitalize. But after a 1-2-3 inning by Jaden Heavner in the bottom of the first, chance to do damage first. Yet again in this series against Texas.
LSU just continues to have a good eye at the plate. 80 more walks than strikeouts this season on as a team for LSU.
And that is a strikeout looking of Avery Hodge. Second of the game for Kavan, and 1 down in the second.
Yeah, and both of her strikeouts have been looking strikeouts. This one on the inner half, a low rise ball inside to Hodge. Might be looking for a walk on that one, but Tegan Kavan is going to get tested with these LSU hitters in the eyes that they have on the plate.
Well, Maddox McKee was 3 for 3 in Game 1 against Tegan Kavan. Most success, as you might imagine, of anyone in the lineup on Thursday night.
And looking at hitting against Tegan Kavan, left-handed hitters have a higher average against her. So they hit over 200 at a 214 clip. Righty's hitting just 176.
Fly ball to right field, drifting back Maloney, 2 away. Well, our NBA playoff Game 1 quadruple header continues with the Clippers and Nuggets. Then we'll have a couple of 3-6 matchups, Pistons and Knicks on ESPN, and over on ABC we cap the night with the Lakers hosting the T-Wolves. Pistons in the playoffs for the first time since 2018-19. Trying to get out of the first round. Oh, 0-1 count to the starting left fielder, Jaden Leno. Base is empty for the Tigers. 2 down here in the top of the second. And the bottom part of the order in this series for LSU has been fantastic. 7, 8, and 9 have combined for 10 hits, including Jaden Leno.
And that's really can be at times in series what makes or breaks a team and a series win is the ability to hit all throughout the lineup, not just relying on the first 4 or 5 hitters. I mean, 7, 8, and 9 for LSU have been much better than Texas's 7, 8, and 9 hitters, which has been an issue for them even going back to last weekend. Coach White just continuing to search for answers to give the rest of their lineup some length down at the bottom of the order. Texas against Tennessee, 7, 8, 9 hitters, just 1 for 25 in that series loss last weekend.
And in this series, 1 for 14 against LSU pitching. Another full count here to Jaden Leno. The 4th of the game by Tegan Kavan. Leno sprays it into left field, and Katie Stewart. Texas hopes to be back in the. Texas takes the lead.
She's just such a student of the game. We talked about the first 3 hitters in the first inning against Huebner getting down 0-2 against her. So she goes up, swings at the first pitch. It's a curveball, hangs out right over the heart of the plate, and against a hitter like Reese Atwood, you just can't do that. Usually it's pull power toward the left side. That one to dead center field. She let that pitch get deep to show off her power.
Jolie Mitchell behind her has also homered in this series. Now, both of Reese Atwood's hits against LSU this weekend, home runs. The walk-off grand slam in game 1 and the solo shot to start the second inning, giving Texas the lead to start for the first time in this series. 1 away.
I mean, she's just truly one of the best hitters in the country and always working to get better, too. It's something that Coach White always talks about Reese Atwood, that she's continually learning. She's driven to be the best. She's wanting to challenge herself, get better at her mental game. And so to see what she can do with just one pitch in any given moment, whether it's early in the game or late in the game with her walk-off grand slam, I mean, she's one of the most feared hitters in the country for a reason. And I'm interested to see now how Jaden Huebner responds after that. Had a quick out after falling behind to Jolie Mitchell, 2-0 after giving up that home run. But with a pitcher who's young and has a tendency to lose command at times. See how she's able to respond. A couple of quick outs, though, after that home run given up.
Hitting 7, the designated player, number 3, Vanessa Quiroga.
And 2 down for Vanessa Quiroga. Senior from the state of Texas, grew up in Corpus Christi. Batting in the 7 spot for the Longhorns, which, as we detailed last half inning, has been unproductive in this series. 1 for 14 combined are the bottom 3 in Texas's lineup over the first 2 games against LSU. Chopper to second base, gloved by Daniel.
Or more home runs, and of course, Lisa Atwood with that home run in the second inning.
Bunt drop down here by Daniel, and one away.
Any familiar faces for Texas returning back from that 2024 runner-up season, national runner-up, losing to Oklahoma in the Champ Series at the Women's College World Series last year. And one of the biggest ones not here is missing Vivi Martinez over at shortstop, which has really shifted around some key positions for Texas, and missing her bat, a strong left-handed power hitter, coming off of an All-American type season. So Leanne Good playing shortstop this year. We saw Katie Stewart playing there in yesterday's game. But without Vivi Martinez there, the dominoes really started to fall for the rest of Texas's defense. And I mean, just one person, one starting shortstop like that, a key player, can really affect the rest of the defense and team.
Coffee just got a piece, stays alive at 0-2. Well, not only that too, Amanda, but offensively, Vivi Martinez made her mark as well. A D1 softball All-America second team a year ago, helping Texas to the Champ Series in Oklahoma City. 0-2 to Coffee.
You really think about it, you'd probably see Leanne Good playing second base, probably see Katie Stewart playing first, and Jolie Mitchell as the DP, and just I mean, it really does have a trickle-down effect for the entire rest of the defense for Texas, as Katie Stewart now out in the outfield.
Katie Stewart's played all over the field. Left field, right field, third base, first base, catcher, shortstop.
It's a lot of different positions, especially going to the grass and the dirt, or hitting it all and behind the plate.
Fly ball into right field, back on it, Maloney at the wall and makes the catch with inches to spare.
Yeah,
2 outs.
The wind continued to carry that ball because the wind is blowing out towards center field at a significant pace. You can see the flags blowing a good bit, but that helped that ball carry toward the wall where it looked like it had a shot to get out of here.
Jayla Lassiter reached in the first inning on what we thought was an infield single. It was eventually ruled an error. And so no hits allowed in the game for Tegan Kavan to this point.
Yeah, my stance on that is that it should have been a hit all the way. I mean, that wasn't an error in my mind whatsoever. Both of these teams, just so much athleticism. You look at LSU with their team speed, and then adding a player like Jayla Lassiter, getting Tori Edwards back, who had to redshirt last year in her true freshman year, and adding an Avery Hodge in the mix as well. Danica Coffey back from injury.
High hopper will reach the outfield, and so Lassiter does have a hit. First of the game for LSU.
She's a player who has big-time SEC experience, coming over from Ole Miss, fitting right into this LSU lineup with a ton of speed and athleticism. Uses the ground there to just put in her head, get on top of something, thinking that Tegan Kavan is a rise ball pitcher. Want to get the top of the ball, creates a 2-out hit. And what a big swing too, right? Because now you get Tori Edwards up in this inning. That's why you're going to see Patty Ruth come out and talk to Tegan Kavan, understanding that is moving a ton of weight. Her brother plays football. Thinks she can lift more than him in the weight room, by the way, because when you put up numbers like that as a freshman, by the way, she did that last year as well. You are so strong. 16 home runs this season for Tori Edwards as a redshirt freshman. That's #1 on the team at LSU and ranks 3rd in the SEC.
Dad Tyrone is a strength and conditioning coach. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree in the Edwards household. And boy, has she been dangerous with 2 outs in this series, batting .424. And represents the go-ahead run at the plate here in the top of the 3rd with 2 down.
Well, and because she's so strong, as Tegan Kavan tries to nibble the corner there on that 2-0 count, and she takes it, because she's so strong, she has a high exit velocity off of the bat. So oftentimes a fly ball will turn into a home run, but even a hard hit ground ball has the ability to make it through the infield or cause an error.
Strike 2 to Edwards. She thought a 2-out walk. Instead, the 5th full count of the game here for Tegan Edwards.
Yeah,
for Tegan Kavan, I beg your pardon.
Tegan Kavan's making some good pitches there. Well located. Reese Atwood frames it up. Gets herself right back in it.
Edwards right side, scooped by Mitchell. And they returned so much, as you mentioned, from that team a year ago that made it all the way to the Champ Series in OKC.
Yeah, a ton of experience returning for them offensively in the circle, and that experience is just invaluable. It's led them to have number 5 RPI at this point in time and a 24 overall strength of schedule. The one thing that is kind of a blimp on their resume, if you're looking at who's going to grab one of those top 8 seeds, where they get to end up, is their non-conference strength of schedule. 111 out of about 300 Division I teams. But overall, strength of schedule, because especially they play in the SEC, bumped up to 24.
Leanne Good to deep left field, and it is caught on the run by Jaden Leno. Basket catch, almost like a wide receiver up against the wall in left.
Did it not seem like that ball was in the air for about 20 seconds? Like, it just felt like it never was going to come down, and both Lassiter and Leno were drifting to it. Seemed like nobody really called it or couldn't hear each other, but man, that's a big out by Leno to come away with that, because for a second I'm sure everybody in that LSU's dugout, their heart stopped.
Katie Bennett in the 9 spot for Texas, whose lone hit in the game came to lead off the 2nd inning, a Reese Atwood solo homer. That has been the difference here in the decisive Game 3 of this series.
And going back to Texas, I mean, this is a very well-rounded team, and he basically returned the same offense when you look at the numbers, same batting average, same amount of home runs, slugging percentage. I mean, it's almost identical from the great year and improvement that they had last year as a team to make it as runner-ups in the Champ Series.
Bunt right back to the circle, spinning and firing with a stretch. Heavner to Edwards, 2 down. Well, tomorrow night's Sunday Night Baseball matchup pits Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, and the Padres taking on Jose Altuve and the Astros in the series finale. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN. Our Sunday Night Baseball Tonight coverage begins at 6. Tatis Jr. on a tear, batting .342 over the first 19 games of the Major League Baseball season. And Ashton Maloney has been on a tear at the top of the Texas order this year. To short, scooped by Hodge, and another stretch by Edwards. Not just powerful, but flexible. And a 1-2-3 inning for the freshman in the circle.
Opening up the right side. Big improvement for Macy Bergeron, but she's not the only one in this LSU offense who was improved this year with this offense. It hits for a really good average. Their batting average is up, slugging percentage is up, on base percentage is up. Bryce Neal being a big part of that. Their hitting coach. And playing to the strengths of this team, when they looked at the roster top to bottom, they realized with their strength coach actually that they tested them all. They tested their speed, and that almost everybody on their roster could run under 3 seconds to first base. So what they've done is really lean into that team speed with great base running, not a lot of home runs. You have the home run hitters of Tori Edwards and Macy Bergeron, but besides that, this is a team that really leans more on a good eye at the plate, really good discipline, flatter swings, and really playing into even the ballpark in Baton Rouge with their swings and with the way that they approach their offense in order to generate runs.
1-2 to Bergeron. Into left field, second base knock of the day for LSU. Right on cue as Bergeron stays put at first.
Well, and you make a great pitch. She hits it off the end of her bat. She still beats the shift. Look at where this hits off the end of her bat, but she stays in her legs. It was a little bit more on the plate instead of right on the corner. And because it was about a ball on the plate, Bergeron was able to get a hit off of it instead of a weak ground ball to the left side.
And now Beth Arena is going to bring Bergeron back towards first base and chat with Mackenzie Redoutey, the hitter due up for LSU. Amanda, you talked about LSU really leaning into patience at the plate, their speed. In this game, 13 batters, just 3 first pitch swings against Tegan Kavan, whose pitch count is nearing 60 after throwing 128 pitches in game 1 on Thursday night. And it's something that Texas head coach Mike White told us they would keep an eye on today, trying to limit Tegan Kavan's 20 pitch innings. But for the 3rd time already.
And for a team that prides himself on base running, if you're Bergeron, you have to see this ball in front of you and stop. You take a couple of extra steps towards Katie Bennett, makes it an easy double play, ran right into a double play, and Texas defense has Tegan Kavan's back after that leadoff single.
Base is empty for Avery Hodge. Strike 1. Back to Bennett, and Kavan faces the minimum. Just an 8-pitch inning for the Texas A's. Delay there by Sierra Daniel, covering first from second base. A pump fake from Heavner, and it allows Caden Henry to reach.
Caden Henry has so much pop in her bat, and she's also one of the fastest players in this lineup. So Heavner, as a lefty, this is a tough play. So she has a blind throw almost, and at that point when she grabs it, she doesn't see that Daniel is at first base. So she hesitates to wait just a second to give her time to get there. But as Jaden Heavner grows up, she's going to have to lead her to the first base bag and trust that she's going to get there. Almost like a quarterback leading a wide receiver to a certain spot. You just have to trust that they're going to get there.
Just the 2nd hit of the game for Texas. Mia Scott has been red hot for the Longhorns. And Caden Henry entering the weekend 3rd in the SEC with 24 stolen bases. Scott, a pop-up to the right side. Hard sprint by Daniel to get there, 1 down. And in steps the superstar, Reese Atwood.
Yeah, she's the reason why Texas has the lead, the reason why they won game 1, reason why that they scored first was because of her ability to hit the long ball, a solo home run for Reese Atwood on the first pitch that she saw for the freshman.
Reigning Big 12 Player of the Year. First team All-American. And her 2 hits in the series, both home runs.
It's the type of hitter that continues to develop. Think about where she was as a freshman, and she didn't have nearly the year that she put together as a sophomore. Just really growing her plate patience. She only walked 3 times as a freshman. Her swing percentage is down. She's being more picky, more choosy about what she wants to swing at, as well as last year, she really worked on her cold zones. So there's hot and cold zones. It basically just shows where's your strengths and where's your weaknesses. She really worked on her cold zones. Her really that low and outside corner to her that a righty might throw as a curveball away from her. That's a pitch that as a freshman, she only hit 212. But this year, hitting at 444. And last year, 478. So there was big time growth from her freshman year to her sophomore year and her approach at the plate. Again, just a hitter who continually is hungry to get better. And it shows in her numbers. So much consistency from last year in that breakout season to this year.
First 3-ball count of the day for Huebner, and it's a walk to Atwood. And for the first time in this game, Texas with multiple runners on. And the tough out of Jolie Mitchell coming to the plate for the Longhorns. How about that? Mitchell squaring around to bunt on the first pitch. Batting .452 with runners in scoring position this year.
I think showing bunt in that situation shows a lot of respect for Jaden Huebner and the LSU pitching staff in general, knowing how hard runs can be to come by off of them. And advance those runners an extra 60 feet. Maybe just having that first strike, seeing what Jolie Mitchell might do with it, and letting her swing away. And that is a great change up to get the second strike in the AB against Mitchell. The pitch that she throws very often, just 7% of the time, but crucial in this AB.
Well, the 9th-ranked Tiger baseball team highlights the SEC Network's featured matchup tonight at 6. They go for the sweep against the top 15 Alabama Crimson Tide, 6 Eastern on SEC Net. One-two to Mitchell. Spoils it off the backstop. Series tied at 1 apiece. Texas taking game 1, scoring 7 runs. Held to just 1 run yesterday, though. Mitchell in the air to right field. Redoutey the catch. Henry will tag to third without a throw.
Left fielder number 20, Katie Stewart.
Katie Stewart comes to the plate with 2 hits in the series, including a double in game 2. That gets away from Bergeron, but quickly recovered. Remember, Henry has elite speed over there at third base. Taking second, Atwood.
Yeah, just knowing your home field that there's going to be a big bounce off the ball with that type of speed back behind the plate whenever it gets back behind the catcher. Good awareness by Henry, even with her speed.
And now Beth Torina comes out after the wild pitch. Texas. This is a big opportunity for a team that has been so good this year with runners in scoring position, but in 3 of the last 4 games, Amanda, Mike White told us we have struggled to execute with big opportunities. None bigger in this game so far than right here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th.
And their offense has just been a little bit off. Of course, going back to having to face Carlin Pickens last weekend, in game 2 and game 3. She did start game 1, but got pulled after the first inning, and a great Tennessee pitching staff in general. I mean, they're the type of pitchers that are going to slow down your offense a little bit, but that low average, not coming through with runners in scoring position as much as they were earlier on in the year, just in a little bit of a funk right now for Texas's offense, which honestly every team is going to go through at some point in the season. But looking to get their bats going here and seeing even if one swing can light them.
Stewart, a pop-up, foul territory. Edwards tracking it back into fair territory, and the freshman Heavner gets out of the jam. Texas leaves 2. They lead by 1 after 4 in Austin this weekend against all Texas pitching.
Team Kavan has looked pretty sharp in this game, worked herself out of some traffic, but a runner is yet to get to third base for LSU. And it's just her ability to be able to continually mix pitches, especially with that changeup. She can face the same team, a really good offense 2 times in a weekend, and she can give them a different look. She can even go a complete game and go deep, even despite them seeing her 6-7 times in a weekend.
The SEC wins leader, unfazed to this point by all the pressure that this LSU lineup will put on you. 2-2 now to McKee. If you think back to it, Amanda, 9 hits against Kavan in game 1. Already 3 times in this game, LSU has had runners aboard through the first 4 innings. And yet Kavan just seems unflappable in the circle for Texas.
She's always had that consistent mentality. I think that's a great word for her, is that she doesn't get really high, she doesn't get really low, she doesn't ride the roller coaster of emotions.
Oh, that catches McKee. First hit batter of the game, and LSU with a leadoff runner aboard in the 5th.
Looks like an off-speed pitch that she's trying to throw inside, just holds on to it.
th hit batter of the year by Kavan, puts the tying run aboard for Leno, and that was foul tipped by the starting left fielder. Well, coming into game 3, 7, 8, and 9 in the LSU lineup combined for 10 hits, rather 7 hits. The entire Texas team had a combined 10 coming into game 3. They would love to turn the lineup over for the likes of Danica Coffey, Jayla Lassiter, and even Tori Edwards if it gets to that point in the inning for LSU. But an 0-2 count here to Leno. That one gets away from Atwood, up to second McKee. And the tying run in scoring position here in the 5th for LSU.
It's a big wild pitch right there. Advancement 60 feet when Leno did not get the bunt down whenever the opportunity presented itself. So now have a runner in scoring position and still no outs. That extra 60 feet in a 1-0 game, a close game like this, every 60 feet is huge.
Both teams coming off series losses last week. Texas dropping 2 of 3 to Tennessee right here in Austin, and then of course LSU swept at the hands of Texas A&M. Leno to the right side. It gets off the glove of Bennett. Every runner is safe, and up to third goes McKee.
It's a big deal by Jane Leno. Missed the opportunity for a bunt, got down against a strikeout pitcher in a pitcher's count with 2 strikes, and still hit that ball hard. It ended up eating up Bennett, who has the most errors in the Texas infield with 9. That could possibly be 10. Actually, they are going to go ahead and rule that in errors. So 10 errors now for Bennett over at second base, but it's because Leno hit the ball hard, hit it behind the runner, so she was going to advance an extra 60 feet. I mean, that is a way to turn a real pickle that you find yourself in as a hitter who was hitless on the weekend, not feeling great about herself, not seeing the ball well. It's a big deal to put the ball on the right side and hit the ball hard.
Runners at the corners, nobody out for this dangerous LSU lineup, which will send the 9-hitter Sierra Daniel to the plate here. And the top of the order salivating on deck. Second time the Tigers have seen Kavan in this series. She went the distance in game 1, threw almost 130 pitches, and double barrel action in the pen for Texas right now, with the game in the balance and a 1-run Texas lead.
This is a time when, if I'm Tegan Kavan and calling pitches, I want to really rely on her changeup. Looking at her numbers, continually blown away by the effectiveness of her off-speed pitch. And with the runner at third base, the hitters that are going to be coming up, they're going to want to tie up the game. They're going to want to be aggressive, have that I want to be the one to get the job done mentality. And I would pull the string with that changeup as much as possible.
Nice play there by Mia Scott. Half backpedaling and colliding a little bit with McKee at third base, first out of the inning.
Yeah, really nowhere for her to go. That ball just took her right into her, as she thought that she was going to maybe have the potential to touch 3 for a double play. She moved right into it. Big out for Kavan.
Tying run at third. Here's Danica Coffey. And the LSU leadoff hitter takes ball 1.
Third baseman Danica Coffey.
Fifth-year senior from Richwood, Texas.
And that, again, is why that wild pitch was so important, why that hitting behind the runner by Leno was so important, because it got her to third base. And now, less than 2 outs, runner at third base. You have so many different ways to score. LSU ties up this game, despite it not even being really pretty. It does the job. And now, it's a different game.
No hits in the inning for LSU. And that continues
Sunday on May 11th, whenever the NCAA bracket comes out for the postseason, just how this all works itself out. In terms of top 8 national seeds, top 16 national seeds, there are definitely some teams that you look at that are going to be on the road for regionals, or some even with the potential of being on the road for regionals. I mean, imagine Texas Tech and Nyjah Kennedy coming to a regional. They don't get a top 16 seed.
fly out to Jaden Leno, 1 down in the 5th, or even Alabama. Now, the Tide have certainly helped their case. The series win against Oklahoma. They have a chance to win the series today in Gainesville. That comes up after us right here on ESPN2. But going into last weekend, Amanda, it was not a foregone conclusion that Bama would be a top 16 seed.
Still not. Still a lot of games to be played, and they'll play Florida in the rubber match immediately following this. In fact, all 3 games that we have on ESPN2 today are all the rubber matches, including Arizona and Texas Tech playing later tonight on E2. And then for the SEC tournament, if you finish in the top 4 in the SEC, you get a double bye. So that means extra rest late in the season, a chance to see how everybody else is playing out and what you need to do too in order to maybe make that last move before Selection Sunday. What wins do you need to get? What are other teams doing? To sit back and watch them play while you rest. But it's crazy to think about, and thinking big picture down the road, this NCAA tournament is going to be nuts. I mean, Jordy Ball and Nebraska are going to be on the road at a regional somewhere. Ruby Malin and Oklahoma State might be on the road at a different regional and not hosting. And same with Nyjah Kennedy and Texas Tech. And that's a big reason why that game tonight on ESPN2 is so important for Big 12 standings, for extra resume boost for Texas Tech, who's trying to make that final statement as within these next couple of weeks to try to earn their way to host a regional.
Pop up right side, foul territory, and making the catch, Tori Edwards, 2 down. Well, tomorrow's Sunday Night Baseball matchup features Tatis, Machado, Altuve, some of the biggest names in the sport. It's Padres and Astros, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. We start with baseball tonight's Sunday Night Countdown at 6 p.m. 2 down in the 5th, nobody on, and the 9-hitter Katie Bennett digs in. High hopper to Daniel, and quickly a sidearm whip to first in a 1-2-3 inning for Jaden Heavner. Tie game as we head to the 6th.
So much offense this season. It just, you haven't really seen as many pitchers duels, but maybe it's us, because last weekend we had some low scoring games in Tuscaloosa, and now this weekend where we are, we have a 1-1 game in the top of the 6th inning. Just so many high scoring games this year.
I have nothing to do with it. If anyone has anything to do with it, it's you, former conference pitcher of the year.
Always willing a pitcher's duel to happen, even though the fans want the offense. I get it. I'm on the wrong side of things, but
hey, you don't see any empty seats in this ballpark.
You don't.
Folks have enjoyed an entertaining and tightly contested pitcher's duel today. 2-1, right back to Kavan. Look what I found. 1 down in the 6th. Third time through this LSU order, which had 9 hits against Kavan in game 1. Today they've produced just 2. As the cleanup hitter Macy Bergeron digs in for the Tigers. How difficult is that, Amanda, for Tegan Kavan, knowing that they already faced you for 128 pitches on night 1, and here you are 81 pitches 2 days later?
It's just how good her stuff is, that she can face a team multiple times in a weekend.
Oh, miscommunication there between Good and Bennett, and it allows Bergeron to reach for the 2nd time today.
And remember, that shift comes on to the left side whenever Bergeron comes up to bat. And so miscommunication between Bennett and Good. Good thought that Bennett was going to get it. Bennett thought that Good was going to get it. And in that situation, that should be Good's ball all the way, because her energy, her momentum would be taking her toward first base to make the throw. It's going to be a much more difficult play for Katie Bennett to make.
Texas middle infield will gather up here with Kavan. They've already turned 2 once in this game. That was back in the 4th with a runner aboard and less than 2 outs.
Yeah, it's because Tegan Kavan is relying on her drop ball a little bit more in this game. That's why she can go against the same team multiple times in a weekend and still find ways to get them out. Her drop ball has been quite a good addition. Paired with that changeup, it can tunnel out of her hand. One looks like it's going to be coming 70 down in the zone. The other one pops in there at 58, right at the knees. Remember, Redoutey didn't hit off of Kavan in game 1. She's getting her first look in this game. That pitch was supposed to be outside. It bleeds back in, right into the swing path of Redoutey, and it is a line catch, even without a glove out there. And LSU comes from behind to tie it last inning, and now pulls ahead with that home run off of Kavan. What a beautiful swing by Mackenzie Redoutey.
And they did it with a runner on because of the miscommunication in the middle infield. Just the 3rd home run of the year by Mackenzie Redoutey, and the first hit of the game for LSU with runners aboard.
And against left-handed pitching, Tegan Kavan had only, against left-handed hitters, Tegan Kavan had only given up 1 home run all year to left-handed hitters. It's just the 2nd. Saw that missed pitch, though, bleed right back over the heart of the plate, and Redoutey sees that mistake, gears up, and did not miss.
A 1 count to Avery Hodge. 1 around 0-2. What a swing for LSU. Beth Torina told us a couple of innings ago, feels like we've had runners on every single inning, just couldn't capitalize. They do here in the 6th in a big way and take their first lead of Game 3 in a series tied at 1 apiece.
Well, they hadn't had a runner even get to third base before last inning. That's when they tied it. And a 2-run home run.
0-2 to Hodge. Mitchell in foul territory, so Hodge will stay alive at 0-2. In the right rather, and foul.
Fans are getting a little
spicy.
spicy, and it's only 12:30. There's some crawfish cooking by Reese Atwood's dad yesterday, which normally you see in Louisiana at a home game there in Baton Rouge, in Austin.
Some chatter across the diamond up both.
Has so much trust in Ashton Maloney in a lot of different ways. Up with the plate as a leadoff hitter, out in right field with her arm, and now laying out in right center and making this play. That was just going to continue to fuel the momentum for LSU. Instead, it just might fuel the fire for Texas to bring that momentum into their bats.
Tegan Kavan loving that defense. And strike one to Maddox McKee. She scored the tying run in the 5th. And here has a chance to extend the inning for Jaden Leno.
And of course, as luck would have it, after you make a great play like Ashton Maloney did, she's going to lead off the next inning. And actually, Texas is going to be in a really good place in their lineup for the bottom of the 6th inning. 1, 2, and 3 coming up.
McKee up the middle, backhanded Bennett, lead tournament seeding implications.
Well, and Texas just has 2 hits in this game. One of them was a bunt single by Caden Henry. The other was the Reese Atwood home run. I mean, their offense this weekend hitting under 200 this weekend in the series.
Great spinning throw by Heavner. And another excellent stretch at first by Edwards to get Maloney.
Not an easy play at all, and usually you're going to see the third baseman who she's talking to right there call her off, but the freshman decides to take it on her own. Not maybe the wisest of decisions, but she's athletic enough to be a lefty, to spin, to make that play, wanting to make up for the one that let Henry on earlier in the game.
Caden Henry, mile high drive to right field. Back on it, Redoutey, and makes the play on the track. 2 outs in the 6th. Well, our NBA playoff game 1 quadruple header continues with the Clippers and the Nuggets. Then we'll have Knicks, Pistons, Lakers, T-Wolves in the nightcap tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Two outs, bases empty for Mia Scott. And Amanda, who would have thought coming into this game it would be the freshman Heavner, with all of her issues with the control over the last couple of weeks, throwing just 61 pitches through 5 2/3.
Well, when we talked to Beth Torino, it's going to be a little pitch by committee going into this game, is what she told us, and wouldn't give away her starter. And then she rolled Jane Heavner out there to get this start, and what a response after her last start against A&M, where she really struggled to find the zone. In this game, she's only walked 1 batter, no hit by pitch. She only made it 2/3 of an inning in the start against A&M, gave up 7 earned runs, 5 walks, a couple of hit by pitch. I mean, that's a huge deal if you're Jane Heavner and if you're the LSU coaching staff and team, to put her back out there in a rubber match against the number 3 team in Texas and say, hey, we still believe in you.
coming into the game, had hit at least one batter in 8 straight appearances. But you heard Beth Torina tell us during our mid-game interview, yes, Huebner's dealt with some control issues, but she also has elite stuff. We ride the roller coaster with her because she is that good. And a 2-out walk drawn by Mia Scott. First time aboard today for the starting third baseman. And the tying run comes to the plate in the form of former Big 12 Player of the Year, Reese Atwood.
Yeah, and Beth Torina mentioned to us, even in game 1, didn't feel like Reese Atwood should have even gotten up to the plate to hit that walk-off grand slam. And you could make the same argument in this inning if she would have gone after Mia Scott. Good pitch to hit right there that Reese Atwood just let go. I mean, that pitch was meaty.
Well, the last time Atwood came to the plate, it almost seemed as if Huebner was doing the old unintentional, intentional walk. 4 balls, 1 strike in that at bat, and Atwood drew a walk. Here, seemingly Huebner going after Atwood. 0-2.
Yeah, and it was interesting because after that first pitch, Reese Atwood took it upon herself to call timeout. I thought she was going to go and talk to Steve Singleton, the hitting coach, or Mike White down at third base, but she just called timeout, took it upon herself to gather herself a couple of extra seconds before she had to be back in the box at that 10-second mark.
.50 career home runs for Atwood. First season pitching collegiately for Huebner. Game in the balance, tying run at the plate, 2 outs. Hard hit off the glove at third of Coffey and into left field. And the inning continues for the Longhorns.
Good 2-strike swing by Atwood to go up and get this pitch. Looks like it was a little bit off speed, but she hits it hard down the third baseline, and that ball just hugs the line and it hops right past Coffey's glove. It's a play that maybe she could have made, but it was just so hard hit. And now 2 on for Texas.
And time called by Beth Torina. Might this be the end of the road for Jaden Huebner?
And really interesting situation here because in game 1, Jolie Mitchell was playing first base and Maddox McKee ran into her what looked like to me unnecessarily. That fueled the fire for Texas. They were down and then Jolie Mitchell hit a home run after Mia Scott had hit a home run earlier in the game. Fuel the fire is the theme for Texas, and that moment to me fueled the fire for Texas, for Jolie Mitchell within this series, within game 1 to help lead to that win where Reese Atwood would eventually hit the walk-off grand slam. Jolie Mitchell is not the type of hitter or player that you want to make mad because she'll take it out on a ball like she took out of here with that home run.
Huebner will stay in the game to take on Jolie Mitchell. Tying run aboard. Mike White making a change here, potentially on the base paths. His team just 2 for 16 in the series with runners in scoring position. Adea Wallace will pinch run at first for Atwood. She represents the tying run with the second-year Notre Dame transfer Jolie Mitchell at the plate. And a first pitch strike from Huebner.
Home run that Jolie Mitchell hit was up the middle of the field. What she's done really well for power is drive the ball right back up the middle of the field this season.
Spent 4 years at Notre Dame. Was a first-team All-ACC recipient her final season with the Irish.
I can't speak for her, but I think these home runs speak for themselves. Jolie Mitchell took what happened at first base personally. all of Texas did, but the way that Jolie Mitchell has stepped up in this series means that she took being angry into her at-bats and let her home runs gone on. She had a redshirt last year because of a knee injury, so it really felt like to begin the season she was still coming back from that, but is pitching her best of the season so far right now.
And for Heavner, was just 1 out away from getting out of the 6th with a lead. Walk to Mia Scott, base hit to Reese Atwood, and the 3-run blast by Jolie Mitchell. Her 2nd home run of the series, 12th of the year. Texas bouncing back in the 6th to regain the lead.
Mia Scott was the instigator of this 2-out momentum for Texas. On a full count, she drew the walk. Then Reese Atwood with a 2-strike hit to pass the bat to Jolie Mitchell. So the same characters at the top of the order for Texas are the ones that are continuing to get the job done.
Foul territory, it'll get out of play.
And still with 7, 8, 9 being hitless in this game, being quiet. It's just how strong the top of the lineup is for Texas with Mia Scott again. She was the spark in game number 1 with her home run along with Jolie Mitchell. And it's like the same thing is happening in this game. Scott, Atwood, and Mitchell all making LSU pay.
1-2 count here to Stewart. Before that home run by Jolie Mitchell, Texas was just 2 for 16 with runners in scoring position in the series. Mitchell taking it upon herself to change that in a hurry. And this will sneak into left field, a 2-out single by Katie Stewart.
Yeah, and that collision, by the way, was seen and talked about all over. I mean, it was on TikTok, it was on X, it was on Instagram. I mean, there was really some momentum behind that in the moment of then Jolie Mitchell going up and hitting the home run in that game. And so for her to do it again, this is going to be a series that Jolie Mitchell will remember for a long time.
Quiroga to short, patting in the mid and making the play in time, Avery Hodge. And this series was billed as a monumental series for both teams, not just because of where they stand nationally and in the league, but because of the series losses that they were coming off a week ago. You want to be playing your best softball and having the momentum going into May for the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament looming. Boy, this series has lived up to the hype. And so is game 3. A hitter's count now to Leno at 3-1. Sierra Daniel awaits on deck in the 9 spot. And Leno draws a leadoff walk.
And with Mike White as the head coach at Texas, they've never lost consecutive home conference series. That's never happened under him. They've lost consecutive conference series, one home, one away, but not back-to-back at home.
He said coming off that home series loss to Tennessee last weekend that there's no real losing if you're learning, and that the losses, especially at Texas where they don't lose much, teach us the most about ourselves. Daniel drops down a bunt, fair territory. Oh my! Unbelievable spin on that bunt by Daniel, and the go-ahead run is aboard for LSU in the 7th.
Yeah, perfectly placed bunt, and I still think that Mia Scott believed that that ball, when she picked it up, was foul, just not knowing exactly where is fair, exactly where is foul. Her and Reese Atwood both watch it roll. She picks it up, I think, thinking that that was going to be a foul ball. You see that she's confused, but instead, it's a well-placed bunt by Daniel to turn over the top of the lineup now with Danica Coffey, the captain of this team. I don't know if it's just me, maybe you feel this way too, but entering this inning after that Jolie Mitchell home run, it felt like Texas was up by more than one run, but then you look at the score and it's okay, Texas just up by one run with 2 on now, but it feels like a bigger lead.
Thin margins in this series, despite the scores. Right, because Texas won by multiple runs in game 1, then LSU returned the favor in game 2, but it never felt like either team was ever out of it over the first 2 games of the series. And again, double barrel action for Texas. Nobody out. 2 on for LSU in the 7th, and a chance to at least tie, perhaps take the lead. With the go-ahead run aboard, and the top of the lineup due up here for the Tigers.
And how about Texas's offense in game 1 and game 3, waiting until inning 6 and 7 to put runs on the board. A couple of close pitches in this inning that Kavan is not getting the call for, trying to be too perfect, but also LSU with some really close takes. Good understanding of the strike zone late in this game.
Coffey drove in the game-tying run in the 5th. Looks at ball 3. For the second time in this series, Tegan Kavan over 100 pitches on the day.
And look at where Mia Scott, the third baseman, is playing, well halfway up the line.
3-1 is dropped down foul.
Just knowing that Danica Coffey is going to try to lay down that bunt, wanting to be as aggressive as possible. Of course, now with 2 strikes, that bunt will be off.
This is Danica Coffey's team, in the words of everyone on this roster. They go as she goes. Big moment with a full count. And the go.
And that leadoff walk comes around to score. No matter what the game is, what the series is, the situation, leadoff walks always come back to haunt you. Danica Coffey not trying to do too much with that pitch down in the zone with 2 strikes, but just gets it through the infield. Good enough for an RBI to tie up this game.
And still threatening with the bases, with runners at the corners. And nobody out for Jayla Lassiter. How long do you stay with Tegan Kavan, Amanda?
Keep her in there. See how she handles Jayla Lassiter here, and then maybe revisit once Tori. Just a good situational swing again there by Jayla Lassiter, and we've seen LSU do that to score their first run, hit behind runners, advance runners. Runner at third base, less than 2 outs. Second baseman Katie Bennett playing back. A well-hit ball, still going to score Daniel.
And it appears Mike White will continue to roll with Kavan, even with the dangerous Tori Edwards coming to the plate. Tied for second in the SEC with 16 home runs entering the day.
When you're thinking about the finalists that will end up as finalists for the National Freshman of the Year, Tori Edwards is undoubtedly going to be in that conversation, maybe even win it. A lot's going to depend on these next couple of weeks. But that's how good of a freshman year that she's having, the type of year that would be even in consideration for National Player of the Year with the numbers that she's putting up.
Beth Torina told us she's never been around a player quite like Tori Edwards. Can do all the things. Speed, power, executes her plan at the plate, and has broken nearly every weight room record that LSU softball has. Draws a walk with 1 down.
Clearly with first base open, just trying to be as careful as possible with her. This is how they worked her. Low in the zone with a drop ball that bled back over the plate. They just stayed away from her, really careful on the outer half. And then this pitch right here, And the last one for the fourth ball, just well off of the plate. Go ahead and put her at first base. Very careful with her. Now 2 on though for LSU, and we'll see what Macy Bergeron, who has just developed so much from last year, can do in this big time situation with a 1-run lead.
Singled and came around to score on Kavan her last time up. That was in the 6th. Texas continuing to roll with their ace. Tegan Kavan, the SEC wins leader with 19 entering the day. Two on, 1 down, and a 1-run LSU lead in the top of the 7th.
Well, LSU not a big home run hitting team, but the 3 main pitchers for Texas, and Kavan and Mac Morgan and Citlali Gutierrez, both of those pitchers double barrel in the bullpen. They've all given up home runs to LSU. On the season, they've just hit 37 home runs coming into this game. A lower number in the SEC. They score runs in other ways, but they do have pop, it seems like, in the right moments. Done a good job of putting the ball in play against a strikeout pitcher today in Tegan Kavan. Only 2 strikeouts. Both of them came in the first innings, both looking strikeouts as the rain starts to come down now late in this game.
All of a sudden, in the 7th, a little bit of perspiration here in Austin. Nobody leaving their seat.
There have been some really close pitches in this inning that LSU has taken that have been pitchers' pitches that Kavan has not gotten the call for.
And that's a strike, much to the surprise of Bergeron. Running the count full. Edwards and Bergeron have done the majority of the damage when it comes to home runs this year for LSU. The payoff into left field and caught on the run by Stewart. 2 down.
This is a throw where he had a couple of chances for a double play there by Katie Stewart. It was almost like Bennett let that throw through to see if they could sneak one in at first base with the runner. A little bit of a sneaky play, not meant on purpose, but maybe could have been a sneaky way to get a double play.
In Mackenzie Redoutey's last at bat, she homered in the 6th. Just her 3rd home run of the year.
Tegan Kavan, despite being a rise ball pitcher, she doesn't give up a ton of home runs. It's difficult to barrel her up. Oftentimes it's dinks and dunks against her with, hits that are mishit, not really barreled up, but only the 2nd home run to a left-handed hitter given up by Kavan this year was that one to Redoutey.
It momentarily broke up the 1-1 tie. And then Texas came right back in the bottom half of the 6th to regain the lead. But here in the 7th, LSU down to its final 3 outs. The Tigers offense, which has just been this momentous wave all weekend and all season, finally breaking through against Tegan Kavan. Back-to-back runs scored. Back-to-back innings, rather, with multiple runs scored for LSU. And Mitchell fields that in foul territory.
Well, and Texas's defense in this game, despite having 2 errors on the board, they've really made some great plays to keep Tegan Kavan pitching in this game and to keep them in the game. All the way back to the 1st inning, a couple of line drive outs. There was that diving play in right center field that Ashton Maloney had. That was the spark to the bottom of the 6th inning where Texas scored 3 runs.
Tapper back to Kavan. Underhand shuffle is good. And now Texas down to it.
Closing situations like this. Man, got to give a completely different look from Jade Heavner. They complement each other very well. Heavner from the left-hand side, up in the zone. Berzon from the right-hand side, more down in the zone with her drop ball.
It would be her third save of the year. Ahead in the count on Leanne Good, 1-2. Good hitless in the series, 0 for 5. Into center, and she has her first base hit. And more. Good into second base with a leadoff double.
Leanne Good has been struggling at the plate. And again, Coach White talked to us about 7, 8, and 9 in their lineup needing to come up and make a difference offensively in this game. Jayla Lassiter gave her all, almost caught that, but instead it's a double for Leanne Good, her first hit of the series.
Mike White sat her yesterday. A rarity for Leanne Good, who had started 44 of the team's 45 games going into game 2. Responding with her second start of the series and a double to lead off the inning as Bennett bunts it foul. And Good represents the tying run for Texas with nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th. And now Mike White out of the dugout here. Might be making a change. No, just want to chat things over with Bennett.
What a game in this final game 3. Back and forth, and it just feels like we saved all the scoring for innings 5, 6, and 7, particularly innings 6 and 7. It's just been back and forth since we got to these late innings. And it just shows to me, Matt, when your back is up against the wall, we talked about this at the top of the show, you want to win this series. Both teams coming off of series losses. LSU got swept in College Station. They want to win. They've been on the road for over a week. It's been a long trip for them. Texas lost to Tennessee. Both teams hungry for a series win.
A light mist continues to fall here in Austin. A 1-1 count to Katie Bennett. Can tie it. Wait.
It's so big that Leanne Good hit that leadoff double to be able to move herself already into scoring position. Now just trying to advance her 60 feet to have a couple of opportunities with a runner at third base and less than 2 outs.
Good into right field. Not deep enough for a tag up by Good, 1 down.
Tough at bat there because you don't advance her 60 feet. Really wanted anything except something in the air like that unless it was going to fall for a hit. Big out for LSU.
It is Ashton Maloney. Back to the top of the order for Texas. Maloney takes strike 1. If you are joining us looking for Alabama, Florida, it has started over on the app. We will get you out to Gainesville for a pivotal game 3 between the Gators and the Tide after this. 0-1 to Maloney. Strike 2. It has become a major day across the conference on this Easter Eve. Multiple rubber matches, including our game here today. Texas taking game 1 in walk-off fashion on a Reese Atwood grand slam. Then LSU responding yesterday with a 6-1 win to level the series at 1 apiece. Then the tying run aboard for Texas. Out number 2 at first. Leanne Good moves up to third.
Center fielder, Kavan Henry.
Mia Scott and Reese Atwood waiting in the wings as Kaden Henry comes to the plate with 2 outs, and Beth Torina out of the dugout for LSU. Well, I'll tell you what, the last couple of innings in this game have been unbelievable. Mackenzie Redoutey with a 2-run homer, her 3rd home run of the season to give LSU a brief lead. Then Jolie Mitchell with 2 outs in the 6th, responding with her 2nd home run of the series. Then an RBI single to tie the game up the middle by Danica Coffey. And right behind her, Jayla Lassiter, an RBI ground out to first, giving LSU the lead again. And again, Amanda, here we are. Texas with 2 outs. The tying run in scoring position. And their 2-hitter, Caden Henry, at the plate.
It just makes you wonder how these coaches in SEC play even survive.
Sleep
and how
at night.
Sleep at night. I mean, every weekend is like this.
Henry takes a strike. Didn't like the call from home plate umpire Robbie Guest. She has been masterful in these situations this year. 564 with runners in scoring position, 481 with 2 outs. And calls time at home.
I feel like 564 is good with runners in scoring position.
Not bad. Not bad.
Means more times than not, you're getting a hit with wrist.
Ball 1 to Henry.
Man, even with her up and that kind of number, you have to be so careful because this is where Texas has done their damage. Mia Scott on deck and then Reese Atwood in the hole.
Henry with 2 hits in the series, including a bunt.
These teams just aren't going away. That drop ball doesn't find a corner. It's a hit or batting average with runners in scoring position, and she does it again.
And now the go-ahead run is aboard for Texas with 2 down in the bottom of the 7th.
We talked to Coach White entering the series, and he said other than Reese Atwood, we asked him, who else would you want up to bat? Without hesitation, Mia Scott. In a moment like this.
Stolen bag for Henry. And now the go-ahead run in scoring position for the Longhorns. 25th stolen base of the year for a player who ranks top 3 in the SEC. And home plate umpire Robbie Guest has just popped out from behind home plate. There's going to be an umpire review here before this result is confirmed.
LSU is challenging the safe call at first base. That play is now under review.
Wow.
Great hustle by Mia Scott, and Sydney Berzon just took too long to get rid of the ball, and Mia Scott has such good speed. She, I think, is going to beat this throw, but it's worth challenging. She beat it. The speed of Henry, remember, got herself to second base with a steal, scored from second on this play. Speed on speed in this inning for Texas. What looks like they're going to win this game.
Does it get any more bang bang for the potential last play of what has been a phenomenal series? Here we go.
After further review, the call on the field is upheld. The runner was safe.
And Texas takes the series with 2 outs in the 7th. Down 1 to LSU.
Again, it's the speed of Texas.